Greetings, everyone. My name is Barbara Coverson, and I am the Program Manager for Family Strengthening Families.
And good day, everyone. I'm Veronica King, the Family Specialist here with Family Strengthening Families. And here at the Discovery Center, we're excited to bring you our Parent Talk podcast.
Yes, and we are so excited about it. This is something that has been months in the making. We wanted to provide families, parents, caregivers with something that they could use to gain information on their role as a parent. You know, parenting can sometimes be very, very challenging. It can be very, very stressful. It is very, very complicated, but it is your most important job of a lifetime. So, Veronica, when we are talking about parenting, and that's really all that we're going to focus on when we're doing these podcasts, bringing information for our parents and caregivers, things that they can glean from to help them become the best parent that they can be. But what does parenting mean to you? Can you describe what you see as the role of a parent?
Well, for me, Miss Barbara, when I think of parenting, I think of, just being that protector, that supporter, that provider that our children need to kind of nurture and guide them into adulthood. So, I think of it as being that like a lifelong commitment, a job of a lifetime.
Yeah, it really is the job of a lifetime. You know what? You never stop being a parent. I had to find that out, Veronica. I thought surely when my son turned 18, oh man, I was done. And then I was like 21, 22, okay, maybe a little bit. Oh my gosh, I found out he's 30 and I'm never done. So I didn't know that, when I started out on this journey as a parent. But it is a job of a lifetime. You never stop being a parent, no matter how old your children get. And so that makes it be very, very special. It's an important role. And, I was just thinking about, there were so many things that but I didn't know as a parent, and I didn't know where to go get the information. I just think like you're just supposed to know how to be a parent. Like, you're just supposed to know you're a parent. You're supposed to know. But I found out that there were things that I could learn. And that's one of our protective factors, knowledge. One of the things that we teach skills on, which basically there are 5, but the knowledge of parenting is so important in your role as a parent. Veronica, there's something that you always say. I like to hear you say it when it comes to knowledge, that it is.
Knowledge is part natural and part learned. Mm-hmm. So always think about it, some things come naturally. You just know what to do. But then there's some things when you become a parent that you have to ask questions. You have to go out, and talk to some people, read up on some things. I think about it like when you're feeding your children. Your children have to eat. When they're infants, they need food. But what type of foods do they need? Are they ready for those solids, or are we still in the formula, the liquid state? Mm-hmm. So have to know that parenting is part natural and part learned. Some things some things we have to learn and grow and just gain those skills as our children grow older.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. And it's nothing wrong with seeking out knowledge to help you. Mm-hmm. I was just thinking as you were talking, Veronica, how it is if you want to be able to drive a car legally, you have to study, take a test, pass the test, the written test and the driving test before you get your driver's license.
Right.
But with parenting, this doesn't have to happen. Before you know it, you can be the mother and father of this child with no skills.
There's no test taken.
No test taken. No test taken. No information. Just you're supposed to know, just like you breathing. You're supposed to just know what to do. And just like you said, there are some things that are natural, but it's so much more that's learned, that you can learn, especially in today's society. It is so much more you can learn. And so that's what we want to kind of focus on when we're doing these podcasts, is helping parents to learn more about parenting, because Veronica, have you ever made a mistake as a parent?
All the time. I made some, this morning before school.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make some later, but as a parent, I feel I always make mistakes.
Yeah, we are not there. I guess we can say there's no such thing as a perfect parent. Yeah. So we're going to be forever making mistakes. The sad part in that, Veronica, is if you make a mistake, you don't learn from it. Or if you keep on making the same mistake, so you want to, start learning from some of these things, and then do what I have had to do. Forgive myself, give yourself some grace. You're not going to get it right all the time.
And sometimes that's hard, for parents to do, is to say, I forgive myself. Forgive our children, we forgive our other family members. Like you said, though, we have to give ourselves that grace and remind ourselves that we're not going to be perfect. We're just not going to be perfect.
Not going to be perfect. Sometimes when you look at it, when I was just thinking about with my son, there was so many things, because he's older now. And I can look back and I can see why he's doing or not doing some of the things he's doing and not doing as an adult now, because of some things that I failed to do or did incorrectly when he was a child. I'm seeing the fruit of that. And so I can't go back and make him 5. We can't go back to the past. This has happened. It's done. So now what do I do moving forward? Forgive myself and deal with what I have at hand. Try to work on what I have at hand, because one thing about kids, they're not going to stay 3. They're not going to stay 13.
As much as we would want them to stay.
Exactly.
Stay younger. Yeah.
It's not going to. And then, when they get to be an adult, they're going to, 10 years old, they think they know as much as you do or whatever. So that kind of brings me to this thing, this concept of why is, if the first thing I have to do is value my role as a parent. Why is that so important? Why is my job, out of all the jobs and titles that I may have, I could be the president of the United States. I could be the engineer. I could be working at McDonald's. I could be a custodian. But of all the titles and jobs that I could have, my job as a parent is the most important job of my lifetime. Why is that, Veronica?
Well, I think, in my opinion, parenting, like I said, is that most important role. That's our most important. Because we're taking care of our children, we're getting them prepared, we're putting our all into raising them. So we're putting everything into them that we want them to carry into adulthood. And when they're out on their own, like you were saying with your son, everything you did when he was 5, 6, 7, 8, you're seeing it now, So when we're putting everything into our children, that's what's coming out when they're adults. So I would think that, we want our children to be successful, independent adults who contribute something positive out into society, because right now we have enough crazies going on, so we want to put something into our children that's fruitful and that is something positive that comes out. We don't want to waste all these years parenting. We want to see that outcome from our work, those positive contributions back out into the world,
They're our gift to society. Whatever we're producing, that's our gift to society. It's, if we're producing some kids that can't read, they drop out of school or whatever, so then again, we're giving that to society. Now we got some people that have dropped out of school, can't read, don't know, so it's only gonna not end well. If we are producing, I was just thinking, I got 1 or 2 things right, Veronica. I don't know if it was by accident or what, but I was just thinking of when we were talking about fruit. And I remember when, we were going to, there were 2 things we didn't have a conversation about: school and church. You're going to school and you're going to church. So we didn't have to, do you want to go today or you want to know? It was none of this. And I can see the fruit of that now. My son gets up on Sunday morning and he gets ready. I don't have to say, you going to church? He was wanting to go when it snowed. I mean, I was like, wow, we had that snow day. It was snowing once, and he was ready to go. I said, I don't think the road's going to let us go today. We're going to have to get on Facebook. And, but yeah, just thinking about things like that. And I can see, because that was something I put in him that I had him to value. Well, where did I get that from? My great-grandfather. He put that in me. He valued education and church. And so I passed that on to the next generation. And so what we put in them, we'll see it eventually. If we never put something in them, it's just like a bank. If you don't put any money in the bank, guess what? You can't get any out. It's an investment. Our children are our investment, and they are our gift to society. So, one of the things that, since you know that, and we're sharing that, we want to talk about what is, I like to say one of, if not the most important tool that parents have, is one of the most. In my opinion, it's just my personal opinion, it's the most, but it's one of the most. Some may say, is influence. Let's talk about that for a minute, Veronica. Why do you think the parents' influence is so important?
Well, you think about it, Ms. Barbara, with your child, you're their first teacher, their first friend, their first hero or shero. They look up to you. So especially when they're younger, they're taking in everything. They're watching everything you do, everything you say, and it's almost like you see a mini me, walking around, because they're so fascinated sometimes by the things parents do and say. So that influence is, like you said, it's one of the best tools that parents can have, because they're watching you when they're younger. So hopefully you're doing those things and putting that into them, giving out those positive influences. So when they're older, it follows, that follow through, that whatever happens when they're younger is going to follow them as they grow older.
Exactly. And you got to get it in early. You can't even really wait till they're 10 now, because by 10 they starting to know more than you. Certainly not.
They know it all.
Teenagers know more than you. They think they really do. And so you're going to get a lot of pushback trying to influence a teenager. So you got to get this in early, very, very early, while they're learning all this stuff, like little sponges, you can get your influence in, and help those children to become the best adult that they can become as they get into their adult years. Influence is very, very important. Again, it goes with the child into places where the parent may not be or doesn't go. It may be the thing that keeps your child from getting in a car with someone who's under the influence. No, I'm not going with you. And that child gets in an accident and maybe even end up dead or hurt someone else, in the process, but your child is safe because your influence was there. That's how powerful your influence is. And that may be a topic that we just dedicate a whole podcast to one day. But as we start to go through various topics as it relates to parenting, because it's such an important tool that parents have, with their child. And guess what? You get to have that first. And it's almost like saying, I'm trying to think of a better word, but I can't think of a better word than influence. It is what it is. And when the child is born, the only language that child knows is cry. That's all they know how to do. They hungry, they cry. They sleepy, they cry. They sick, they cry. They don't know anything else. So everything else is learned behavior. Learned behavior. So as the child is starting to learn all these different things, the parent is responsible for controlling the environment of that child. and expanding that environment as the child is able to handle it. But it is the parent is ultimately responsible. You know, that's why we have parents. Otherwise, the child could just don't need parents and do their own thing, which is what happens in some cases. We have parents that are very permissive and allowing the child to do whatever the child wants to do, which is not going to be good for the child or society. So when we look at this and we look at the role that we play in our children's life, this is so, so important, Veronica. And we have an opportunity to be the parent that our children need us to be in the best possible way that we come, if we get the information that we need. And, you know, we have several other different programs and services and things that we offer. Veronica, can you just kind of share a little bit of some of the things that we do here in our program to help families?
Yeah, so one of the other things we have here with Family Strengthening Families is our Parent Cafe. And this is a group or a meeting that's open to parents, anybody in a caregiving role. You can be a babysitter, you can be a neighbor, church member, friend, anyone who's interested in making sure that we're doing our part to use our protective factors to keep our families safe and strong and make sure our children are healthy and happy. So with those parent cafes, we let parents share from their own experiences. We talk about, you know, things that happen in our daily lives with parenting and how we can use our protective factors to keep our families safe. And so that group meets every Tuesday at 2 p.m. on Zoom. And so with that group, if you would like to join, you just let us know, call here at the center and we'll send out that Zoom link to your email. And then we also have our ACT Raising Safe Kids class. And that class focuses on, you know, how we are preventing our children from being exposed to violence, substance abuse, drugs, anything that, or even some, you know, sometimes the physical harms and dangers that come towards our children. Anything that could cause long-term effects, you know, trauma, issues with behavior and things of that nature. So those are, you know, focused more on our younger children up to like age 8. And we have that class every Thursday on Zoom at 6 p.m. So again, to get the links to join, you can just call here at the Discovery Center. And our number is 662-615-0033. And when you call, you can ask for myself or Miss Barbara and just say that you would like to join in those groups.
That's absolutely correct. And so we just want to be another option for you in being able to do what you can do to be the best parent. You know, with our podcast, as we explore various topics, and there may be a topic that you would like for us to talk about, give us a call and we'll, you know, get some research and provide the, you know, that, you know, do something on that topic if it's something that you would like to know more about that we have not already touched on, or maybe we've touched on it and we just need to revisit it. Give us a call if you have some topics that are near and dear to your heart. If you would like to, from time to time, we will have guests come on the podcast and share from their area of expertise on various topics. And so it won't just be us. We will also have guests from time to time, because we want this to be something that's uplifting, not beating up on parents, because we find that, you know, if you're stressing and you're struggling and and it's challenging to be that parent that you want to be, you already been beat up enough. So the goal of this podcast is not to beat up on parents. It's to just help us to be a better parent. You know, sometimes I often say when we're doing our classes, if you know how to cook, you may be a good cook. But guess what, Veronica? You can learn how to cook something new And you can also learn how to cook something that you already know how to do. You can learn how to do it even better. You can add some other little ingredients or spices or whatever and spice it up and make it even better. So just think about that in parenting. No one is trying to call you a bad parent, but we are trying to help you be a better parent. And so that's the goal of this, to not put a stigma on parenting so that, oh my God, I don't want to, you know, I'm throwing my hands up. I give up. I don't even know where my children are. I don't know what else to do, but I'm done. And I'm just telling you today, you're not done. You're not done. You're just frustrated right now. And so frustration can sometimes cause you to make some bad decisions, bad choices. So in the midst of your frustration, don't give up, because that's a bad choice, because you really cannot. You can say you have walked away and given up, but that's still your child.
Lifetime commitment.
Lifetime commitment. You didn't stop. You didn't stop. You know, no matter what you're saying, you're still that mother or that father. And we have, you know, just thinking, Veronica, before our time is up today, we have all these different type family arrangements and stuff. And sometimes the child may not live with you, may live with, you know, the father, may live with the mother, but you're still, whether you're in the home with the child or you're not in the home with the child, guess what? You're still that child's parent. Mm-hmm. And so you have to find a way to be the best parent you can, no matter what the living arrangement is, because that child needs that. That child needs that. And so in view of all those things, we've kind of excited, aren't we, Veronica, and just looking forward to, this was a vision that we had that took a while to bring to pass. But we are excited, Veronica, that we're finally able to, we say something that we wanted to do, and now we're actually able to do it. And what we had to do was put some work into it. It's a lot of work too. But we put some work into it, did we not, Veronica, to get this done? So we didn't give up. We weren't going to give up because it was a struggle. So we are not going to give up, and we want you to not give up. And we're looking forward to our next podcast. And as we go forward, every second and fourth Wednesday, we'll be publishing the podcast on YouTube. And you will be able to find us at YouTube at Parent Talk at Discovery Center Podcast. So just in your search engine, just go up there and put Parent Talk at Discovery Center Podcast, and you'll be able to find us and locate us. And we'll just do episodes as we go. This will be our second episode. We had our first one in December. And as we go forward, we'll just continue to add on episodes and look forward to joining us each and every second and fourth Wednesday with another hot topic at Parent Talk. Until next time, have a good one.